Hello and welcome to the Tennessee Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us today. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. And if your question is for one specific institution, be sure to name the school in your question so the representative knows it is for them. Your cameras and microphones are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening this evening. Be sure to sign up for additional sessions where you signed up for this one. This presentation is being recorded. It'll be available within about a week, maybe even sooner, at the same website where you registered for this session. Before I turn it over to our presenters, I want to note the order of the presentations this afternoon. We're in session A2. You can see that I'm moving my mouse over the screen that I am sharing. And those are the 5 schools that will be presenting during this session. I've gotten all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, so I will get out of the way and turn it over to our first representative from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville.
All right, thank you. I'm going to try and share my screen here. Okay, hopefully everyone can see that. All right, well, good afternoon or evening. My name is Tyler Llewellyn, and I work in the admissions office at the University of Tennessee. So I am one of the admissions counselors for East Tennessee. Janae Turner is also here with me to work our Q&A chat. So first off, I want to talk to you about some stats about the university. This year we have the largest freshman class ever at 5,500. So we are a large public university, the flagship of the UT system and the land-grant university of the state. But even though we're a large school, that doesn't mean you're all going to have really big classes. More than 70% of our classes have 30 or less in them. And most classes for foreign language and English are capped to right around 20. I'm a graduate of UT as well as Janae, and I was in the public relations program, and the majority of my classes probably had 20 or less once I got into there. We have more than 360 academic programs at UT, so hopefully something for everyone. You can see that we have a 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio. As the land-grant flagship university of the state, we're proud that we have the highest retention rate in the state out of public universities, as well as the highest graduation rate out of public universities in the state. And then you can see that the majority of our, the majority, about 50% graduate with no debt, which is below the national average. So as you know, the admissions process is different this year for most schools, and just like us, we've made several changes. So there are 2 ways you can apply to UT, the VIP link on your screen, and we're also a member of the Common Application. Most students go through a holistic review process where we consider everything, so most programs don't have minimum requirements. This year we are test optional, or I guess I should say test inclusive. And that means that you are not at a disadvantage if you apply to the university without test scores for anything, admissions, competitive programs, scholarships, so you can still be considered for everything without a test score. If you do apply without test scores, we do require an additional essay on the application. So that would mean 2 required essays for you. And those essays are how we really get to know you. So definitely encourage you to be as thoughtful as possible through that process. And do a lot of proofreading. Our early action deadline is coming up November 2nd, and we're releasing decisions in mid-December if you apply by that date. Our regular admissions deadline is going to be December the 15th, which is also the deadline for our competitive scholarship application. And if you apply by that date, we plan to release decisions in mid-February, so that's something new this year. Something else that's new is the self-reported grades and test scores. So we don't require your official transcript until you enroll. So you do a self-reported academic record after you apply, and then that calculates a core weighted GPA for you for the review process that we use. So you're entering in everything on your transcript in that portal that we use to review you. And we're definitely going to help you throughout the process since we know it's new and you might need to have several questions. You can also see, speaking of GPA, there on the top left side, our middle 50% GPA and test score. So 3.6 to a 4.2 for core weighted GPA and 25 to 31 super score. We do super score for everything for the middle 50% there. We are doing in-person tours. They are limited and everyone's required to wear a mask, but we're still doing them 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. We also have lots of options for virtual experiences. The visit website there on the right bottom will show you all of our virtual tours, chats that we have online with students. And we also have our open house coming up, Big Orange Preview next week, which will be Monday through Wednesday, some evening sessions. So if you go to that link there in the corner as well, you can find your admissions counselor. The majority of the local area is going to be me, Janae, Julian, and then we also have Ashlyn and Allison that cover East Tennessee as well. To talk to you a little bit about scholarships, I mentioned that you are considered for scholarships if you don't submit a test score. So we awarded a little more than $60 million in merit and need-based scholarships this past year. The majority of those are merit-based, but we do have income-based scholarships as well, based on your family's income from the FAFSA. So the FAFSA is already out now. You can do that, and we would prefer that you complete it by February the 1st. So most of our scholarships, I mentioned, are merit-based, starting out with a 3.8 weighted core GPA. And then some require test scores, like the volunteer scholarship, but then the Beacon scholarship does not require test scores. So you'll automatically be considered for that just by applying for UT. Also want to mention that for the early action deadline, it is not binding. So you don't have to worry about being in a binding contract with us. The deadline is just recommended because applying by November 2nd, you'll be considered for all scholarships that we offer, as well as our honors programs. But then of course, you can still apply through December the 15th. Well, thanks for having us, and I'm gonna turn it over to the moderator now.
Thank you very much. And I want to remind everyone that if you have questions for any of our presenters, please use the Q&A button to ask those questions. And if it is a question for a specific school, please name the school in your question. Up next, we will hear from the representative from Middle Tennessee State University. You're still muted, AJ.
Thank you so much. Yeah, getting my screen here shared for you guys so we can just go ahead and jump into the PowerPoint so we can get all of this taken care of in our 6 minutes. How is everyone doing? My name is AJ Cochran. I am one of the admissions counselors at MTSU for the East Tennessee region. I kind of cover the middle East Tennessee region with Chattanooga and Cookeville and some more of those cities. And I'm also joined by my coworker, Anna Flora, who covers the more far-reaching East Tennessee territory. So your Knoxville, Johnson City, and Kingsport areas. She is gonna be your go-to. But I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about MTSU today. We are one of the largest public institutions in the state currently. We have over 22,000 students, which can seem like a lot, but we still are able to make it feel like a smaller private school on campus with the kind of community and experience we create on campus. We have over 140 academic programs. Some of our more popular and more well-known for us specifically are going to be aerospace, especially with ProPilot. You can see down there at that bottom picture. Our recording industry programs, whether that's in music business or commercial songwriting or just audio production itself, is becoming very, very popular. We also produce the most educators in the state of Tennessee every year. Our nursing program is going to be in that upper echelon in the state and also in the Southeast every single year. We have a 98% passing rating on the NCLEX test for that. So that is a great option for a program here is our nursing program, along with all the other 140 academic programs we offer that you can look at in depth at mtsu.edu/programs, and it'll have a breakdown of each major there. We're also going to be able to offer over 300 plus student organizations, all the way, ranging from our national and international fraternities and sororities, all the way to the peanut butter and jelly or the high five club. Anyone can create a club on campus as long as, they have enough people and they're passionate about it. And, you can spread your cheer through whatever way you want to through a student organization. I want to take you quickly through our application process. It's going to be all online. You'll fill out at mtsu.edu/apply now. We do have a $25 application fee, and we offer fee waivers for students who qualify, and you'll be able to see that as well. And then you will submit your high school transcripts and your ACT and SAT scores. We are not technically we are test preferred still. So we are still counting the ACT for scholarships and also placement purposes, but you can also still be admitted without an ACT or SAT score. If you had any other questions about that, please feel free to contact one of us admissions counselors, either myself or Miss Anna Flora. We'll have our contact information at the end there for you if you had any questions about that. And you can see on the right how we do admissions is we have our guaranteed admissions mark of 3.0 GPA. You can be admitted based off of that, or you could be admitted based off of a 22 on the ACT or a 1100 on the SAT. Or if you have a combination of a 2.7 GPA and a 19 on the ACT, you will be admitted based off of that as well. And if you don't fall into any three of those categories there, you will submit number 5 in the application process, which is our personal statement form, and just give us a little more background about you as a person and as a student so that we can have the best picture of you to make our admissions decision off of. A huge part of school is looking at what each school is going to cost for you. So as you can see, for one semester for an in-state student, we're going to be looking at that top blue line. The total per semester is going to be around $10,200. But you can also see that where it says residence hall and meal plan, those are both optional. So freshmen are not required to live on campus or to have a meal plan. Now, if you do live on campus at any point at your time here at MTSU, we do require that you have some form of the meal plan. But that $10,200 is before any scholarships, of course. So that's already very affordable for you to be able to knock some of that down and get your school mostly paid for through academic scholarships and freshman scholarships that we'll talk about on the next slide. But if you had any other questions or needed to look at any more costs or fees, definitely go to mtsu.edu/tuition. So like I said, that was what it costs, but here's some of the things that we can give you to make it cost less. So we'll start right there at our True Blue scholarship. So these start at a 23 on the ACT and a 3.5 GPA. And with a 23, you'll get $2,000 per year for 4 years. And you can also see just for 2 more points for a 25, you'll get $4,500 per year. And as we saw on the last slide, that's basically 1 semester's worth of tuition that you'll get just for that scholarship. And like I said, they're paid once a year for 4 years. So you'll get that all the way until you graduate, hopefully. But there are also many other scholarships you can apply for our departmental scholarships. And those are all on mtsu.edu/scholarships if you wanted to look at some of that. We do have this priority deadline for December 1st that freshmen definitely want to keep in mind, because we have to have everyone applied and the application complete by then to be able to award these freshman scholarships. And we can take the December ACT test and consider it towards these scholarships as well. Here's just some important links for you to look at as we're wrapping up here. There's where you can apply or schedule a visit. There's some of our academic programs, scholarships, housing, or you can text admissions with that number there. And then this is our contact info for our 2 counselors for East Tennessee. Like I said, myself and Miss Anna Flora, we would be happy to help you. Depending on where you're from, you'll have either one of us. So thank you so much. And please reach out to us with questions.
Hey, Jay, thank you very much. And want to remind everyone that if you have questions for any of the presenters during this session, make sure you use the Q&A button and you can ask the question using that function. And if it is a specific question for one school, make sure you name the school in your question. Up next, we'll hear from the representative from Austin Peay State University.
All right, how's it going, everybody? I'm going to start sharing my screen right now. Okay. So my name is Dylan. I'm the East Tennessee admission counselor. I cover all of East Tennessee. So any questions you might have are going to come through me. I'm going to do our tour presentation. So if you ever come to Austin Peay, you guys probably end up seeing this again. Starting off with just the quick facts about Austin Peay. We have just over 11,000 students currently enrolled at Austin Peay. That's the most we've ever had on campus at one time. So we're very excited to keep seeing that number grow. We have the highest safety level you can get from the TBI. So we're a very safe campus. We offer over 50 different majors. Underneath all 50 of those majors, we actually have over 100 different concentrations. So just different programs to give you a more specific track to what you want to do. Specifically, student organizations, we have about, it says 130. Last time I counted, it was like 150, 160. All it takes to make one student organization is 8 students, and then the dean of students has to approve that, but it's very easy. That's why that number just keeps growing so fast. We study abroad. We go to over 30 different countries when we're allowed to be out of country at least. That's something that I tell every student to try to do while they're here at Austin Peay, just so you can travel the world and get college credit for it. It's a great opportunity for everybody. Average classroom size is 21. Athletically, we are Division I. We play our sports in the Ohio Valley Conference. That's always a great time. All students can get into athletic events for free, so I like to highlight that. Sports are my favorite part of being, or were my favorite part of being in college, so I love that. So how to be a Gov. First, you apply online at apsu.edu. You just hit apply in the top right corner. Then you're going to pay the $25 application fee. We have fee waivers available, just contact our admissions office if you're interested in one of those. Then you're just going to send us your test scores. We are test optional, so we can accept you based off of your GPA, but we do need ACT scores if you want to be looked at as far as academic scholarships go. To get in, you need either a 2.85 GPA or a 20 on the ACT. You can be conditionally admitted with a 2.75 or a 19 as well. These are our different scholarship opportunities here at Austin Peay. First, with the admissions application, like I said, once you apply, you're put into the running for our academic scholarships. After that, you have our general scholarship application. What that is, all of the different scholarships that are given out from Austin Peay, from each department, are all lumped under this one application. So there's over 300 different scholarships under this one application that everyone can sign up for. So I highly recommend doing that. The deadline to do so is March 1st. Then you have the FAFSA. Every undergraduate has to file the FAFSA. So that's going to be your government grants, like in Hope funding, Hope scholarships, and things like that. These are our academic scholarships. Starting off at the top, you have the presidential scholarship at $6,000. All of these are 4-year renewable as long as you maintain a 2.75 GPA. Presidential, you can get a 3.0 and a 30 on the ACT or a 1360 SAT. Then it just kind of staggers on down. 3.0 and a 26 will give you the deans, and then the achievement is a 3.5 and a 22. Next, we have PELP. It's our President's Emerging Leaders Program. It's another scholarship that we offer. It's kind of like our honors program. So you need a 3.5 and a 26 to be a part of PELP. It's $3,000, also 4-year renewable. Pretty much you'll just be a leadership minor, and then you'll go on a mission trip to Trinidad and Tobago in your junior year, and you'll build houses. So it's a great opportunity, and it looks great on a resume as well. This is a great breakdown of the cost to attend. So tuition is about $4,400 for a full-time student. Don't worry about the out-of-state fee as long as you're from Tennessee. Then you got housing and a meal plan. So that's an estimated cost of the most expensive housing and meal plan options. So based on which dorm you want to live in and which meal plan option you would like, that number can actually kind of go down a little bit. Then don't worry about the total cost per year. With scholarships and everything, no one ends up paying that much. So then you got housing. So once you apply, get admitted, you're going to apply for housing. So when you apply for housing, at the end of the application, you're going to put $100 down. What that $100 does is it just locks in your priority spot. So if you apply before December 31st, then you have priority to where you can pick your dorm on March 1st. Then If you decide I'm not going to Austin Peay, you can get your $100 back just by letting us know by July 1st. So if you make that choice not to come, you're not locked in. We can give it back to you. Last thing, all students are allowed to have a car on campus. It's covered in your tuition and fees, so that's another big thing. This is just a rundown of some of our big campus traditions. Some of my favorites are on here. You got Mud Bowl, you got Ghost. Ghost is like our big trick-or-treating celebration. All the kids from around the community come together and the student organizations give out candy. It's a little bit more safe for the kids. Things like that. These are just some fun things that we do here at Austin Peay that are some of my favorites. And then lastly, this is just the admissions contact information. That's the admissions number right there, and then the admissions email address. So if you guys ever have any questions, please email or call us. And that's it.
Dylan, thank you very much. And again, want to remind people that if you have any questions for our presenters, use the Q&A button to ask them. And if it's a question for one specific school, name the school in your question. Up next, we will hear from the representative from Lincoln Memorial University.
Good afternoon. I appreciate you all coming out to be with me this afternoon. So I'm going to run through a few things. I'm Sean Long, so I'm one of the admissions representatives that we have in the office for the East Tennessee area. One of our other representatives, Mr. Matthew Bruning. If you've been on campus, you may have met with him, but he's one of our other representatives. Contacting any one of us will be completely fine. We'll make sure that you get taken care of. So just real quick in the time that we have here, just give you an overview of LMU. So if you're not familiar with us, we're a small private university here in the East Tennessee area in Harrogate, Tennessee. It's right on the Tennessee-Kentucky border, about an hour outside of Knoxville. So we're close to around 5,000 students. Out of that, close to about 2,000 students will be our undergraduate population. And so we're going to be a little bit smaller. And so our average class size is going to be 14. So we don't have any assistants who teach. It's always going to be a professor. So we do an average class size instead of student teacher ratio. With that, we will have some classes that will be a little bit larger, also some that will be a little bit smaller than that 14. So we come in right in that. So if you're looking for a smaller university, kind of located right there at the foothills of the Cumberland Gap National Park, right there at the mountains, that's going to be our fit. So academically, we're fully accredited. We've done everything that we needed to do on that. 2019, we were named the safest campus in America by alarms.org. They're an enthusiast magazine. They keep up with campus safety. And so they gave us that accolade for that. Moving further into academics for majors, depending on what you want to study, we have a number of different degree programs, some of which will be associate degree programs, but then we also have a number of bachelor degree programs as well, depending on the area of study that you want to go into. And so moving forward from that, though, one thing that may make us a little bit unique for a small private institution, we offer a number of graduate and professional programs at LMU. And so all of those bachelor level degree programs, they all feed into those professional programs in one way or another. Some of them are very direct pathways, and then some of them have alternative pathways where you can pick up additional coursework so you can study something that may not seem as directly related, but then you can still get the prerequisite work that you need to be able to continue into it. So a number of those professional programs that we have at the doctoral level, you can see here. And so having a medical school, vet school, those are big draws for us, being, again, a small school. And so if you're looking for a smaller environment to study that in and go forward in that, those are some good areas to do that. A few of our programs, like the Doctor of Jurisprudence, that's the law school, that's going to be located in Knoxville. So some of them will be on the main campus in Harrogate, and then there's a few of them that you would actually transition into Knoxville, into that area, after you finish your undergraduate coursework and begin your study there. So still affiliated with the school, but then you may get a little bit of a change of scenery there if that's what you'd be looking for. So a number of different pathways to do that. And of course, we would be able to explain that to you in more depth, exactly how those things connect together there. For our acceptance policy, what we're looking for, essentially, for lack of a better term, would be guaranteed acceptance. being a 3.2 unweighted grade point average with a 19 on the ACT. We do super score now, so if you do reach that with a super score, we'll honor that, or a 10-10 SAT. And so essentially what happens if we see those scores, we can just check the box that you're accepted with the university and move forward into next steps. If you don't meet that criteria in one or both of those categories, what happens then is you'll go to a secondary review process. We have a few individuals who are on that committee, and so they're going to look at your work a little bit more in depth, classes you've taken, maybe even some trends. If you may have had an illness or there may have been a death in the family, these extenuating circumstances that may affect grades. So, you've done really well, but had this thing happen. We're going to look for those types of things, maybe even reach out to you to get a little bit further explanation on it, and then make our decision once we have a little bit more information at that point. One thing unique for this year, and we're looking at being able to do this forward into the future as well, would be a test optional acceptance. And so we would be looking for that grade point average. The benefit of still submitting a test score is for scholarship opportunity. So if you do have that test score, it's probably still to your advantage to go ahead and send it, even if you feel like it's not the score that you wanted to get, or maybe even you're waiting to retake the ACT, you can still work through that way with us. So we do here, just to kind of show you a few of our scholarship opportunities to see how those correlate with those ACT scores. Again, the score, it being higher, is just going to help you. So for a lot of students, it's still going to be pretty beneficial to go ahead and submit that so we can take a look at it for you. So your next step with LMU in the last few minutes that we have here will be to either do one of two things. If you haven't been on campus, it will be to schedule a tour so you can come in, see the campus, get a good feel of the campus. Anywhere that you want to go, you want to make sure that you're comfortable there. It feels like home to you. So I always recommend definitely take a couple different tours. We're a smaller school. So if you're looking for a small school, come in, visit us, but then also go visit a large school as well. You want to make sure it doesn't do us any good or you any good to come to a school that you're like, hey, I thought that's where I wanted to go, but I'm not sure. Going in and taking a tour is really going to make sure that you're in the right place and you feel the most comfortable you can be, so you can be successful in your academic journey. So if you've already done that and you feel like, yes, I do want to be there at LMU, this is the place for me, your next step is going to be to apply to the university. And so you can do that on the website. There's a place to apply there and move forward. I think my time's up. So last slide here will be some contact information, and you can contact either one of us. So thanks for listening, and feel free to reach out at any time.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. And I want to remind everyone, ask questions using the Q&A button. And if you have a question for a specific presenter, just name the school or their name in your question so they know it is for them. Up next, we will hear from the representative from South College.
Hi, just a second. Let me share my screen. And we will go. Maybe. All right, perfect. So my name is Julia. I'm with South College. I'm here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I listed our two addresses. Our Lones Drive campus is our main campus, but we also have a campus on Goodies Lane. Just to start off, we are regionally accredited through SACS, and that does accredit us to give out certificate through doctoral programs. So if you're interested in that. Our general admissions requirements, we do require a 2.5 GPA or a 17 ACT or an SAT combined of 830. If you don't meet one of those, that's totally fine. We have an in-house admissions exam that you can take. But like I said, you just have to meet one of those requirements. We do have specific admissions requirements for some of our more specific programs, but this is our general requirements. We are a Tennessee Promise school, so I know that's really important right now, especially we are a private institution, so being able to use Tennessee Promise to go 2 years free is really awesome. You can use Tennessee Promise to cover a certificate or an associate's degree. The only thing it doesn't cover is textbooks or tech fees. One thing that's different about using Tennessee Promise with us is that you can start in the summer with no cost. So that way you can get started sooner and finish sooner. So that's really awesome. This is kind of a breakdown about how Tennessee Promise works with us. since Tennessee Promise technically covers what a community college covers, we pick up the rest. So it's completely tuition free for you. So that's just more information on Tennessee Promise. These are our Tennessee Promise eligible programs. So we have a number of different programs, from accounting to computer science, sonography, a couple of different health science programs, medical assisting. We have OTA and PTA, paralegal, and surgical tech. Something that is different about our school is that we have the only sonography program in East Tennessee. And you can use Tennessee Promise to cover part of that program. It is an associate's degree. And most of these programs also go on to bachelor's programs, which you can do with us as well. This is a list of all of our programs. I know that's kind of overwhelming, but we offer, like I said, certificate through doctoral programs. If you wanted to do pharmacy or PT, you can go all the way and become a doctor. But this is a list of also our bachelor programs. If you did your associates with us and wanted to keep going, we have a number of programs. We are mostly medical based, but we do have other programs as well. Here's a couple of reasons to choose South College. I won't go over all of these, but something I think is most important is that we have hands-on training and instruction. As you can see in these photos, our classrooms are not like your average classrooms. You're going to be working in the classrooms with the equipment, with the technology that you would be working on in a hospital, in a clinical setting. We think it's most important that you are doing the work in the classroom instead of sitting in a lecture class, watching someone tell you what to do. You're up doing it yourself. That way, when you get to those clinical sites, when you get to your jobs, you know exactly what you're doing. We work on a quarter system, so we're a little bit more fast-tracked. So we go 4 quarters a year instead of 2 semesters. So where it would usually take you 2 to 2.5 years to finish an associate's degree, it only takes you about a year to a year and a half to finish it with us. We do offer free tutoring, advising, and counseling to all of our students. So that's something that we think is really important, that we are helping you on all ends. If that's with your mental health, if that's with tutoring resources, we can help you out. And we do have career services, and that's super important. We are career oriented. So we're training our students to go out into the job force. That's why you don't see programs like English or history. You see programs in sonography and teaching. But we also have career services that's going to help you write your resume. They're going to help you interview. So our students definitely take advantage of that. If you're interested in pharmacy, we have an early acceptance program into the Doctorate of Pharmacy School. This is a one-of-a-kind program. So if I have any students that are interested in pharmacy, please reach out to me and let me know, and we can go over the SPEAR program in the next steps. We are also a dual enrollment school, and you can take any 1,000 level course with us, online or on campus with dual enrollment. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. It's not too late to do dual enrollment for the spring. This is a senior checklist. This goes over Tennessee Promise deadlines and also South College specific deadlines. I have this typed up in an email. If any students that are on here want this, please let me know. I can email it to you. But just remember, your Tennessee Promise application is due by November 2nd and your FAFSA is due by February 1st. And then this is my contact information. We also have another Tennessee Promise rep named Tiffany. So if you guys have any questions, you can give us a call or email us. All right, and that is mine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And while I remind everyone that we still have a little bit of time for questions, I will also ask that each of our representatives come back on with their cameras and microphones so we can do a little Q&A real quick, since we have some extra time. We have a little, right around 10 minutes or so. So I'll just play talk show host and ask a couple questions. We can have you answer in the same order that you presented. So we'll start with UT Knoxville, Middle Tennessee State, Austin Peay State, Lincoln Memorial, and South College. So the first question I'm going to ask is kind of a fun one, and it really speaks to campus life, and also not just campus life, but just school traditions overall. And it's, what's your favorite campus or school tradition for your school? And again, we'll start with UT Knoxville.
All right, so my favorite UT tradition is going to have to be torch night. So this is where incoming freshmen gather in the Alumni Memorial Building or Thompson Bowling, and the seniors pass along the torch of preparation, so to speak, to incoming freshmen to kind of, I guess, orientate them to campus and help them learn more about what the torchbearer statue is, which has a motto of one that beareth the torch shadows oneself to give light to others. So really being a volunteer and giving back.
Fantastic. Middle Tennessee State.
So I have to say, I'll do just a little more funny one. We have our own chocolate milk here on campus that is absolutely world renowned. We make it here with our fermentation science people. We have our own dairy farm, so that's really delicious. You can only get it here, and there's like 1 or 2 stores in Murfreesboro that actually sell it. But along with that, tailgating at Walnut Grove before football games is always really nice in that part of campus in Walnut Grove.
Awesome. And I'm now kind of craving a glass of chocolate milk. But Austin Peay State.
I would say my favorite campus tradition, you can probably see a picture of it on my presentation, is it has to be Mud Bowl. That's a big volleyball tournament and a huge pit of mud that we do every year. I've seen pictures from like the 1970s of them doing it back then. But everyone gets together, they just play volleyball in this huge pit of mud. You get completely filthy by the end of it, but then you get sprayed off by the fire department and everything like that. There's free food, inflatables, all kinds of stuff going on, t-shirts, everything. And then where else can you go where the slogan is "Let's go Peay"? That's my other one for sure.
Well, that's something I'll remember going forward for sure. Let's hear from Lincoln Memorial University.
Yeah, one of the traditions that I really enjoy on campus is homecoming week. They make a big deal about that, and they always do theme years. So they invite a number of alumni to come back in from different years throughout the decades. And so they get to share with current students, what they've done after they graduated, and kind of share about their careers, kind of give some advice, a little bit of networking as well with some older members of the LMU community in that way. And then of course they do, 5Ks. So a number of events throughout the course of the week that a lot of people like to participate in too, and just kind of build that community there on the campus with that.
Fantastic. And South College.
I think my favorite tradition on campus is with the pharmacy school. We have a number of pharmacy students from all kinds of different countries. And they do a night, kind of a diversity night, a cultural night, where they set up booths with food and information about the countries that they're from. So anyone is invited, they can go and just learn a little bit more about the different cultures that are represented in our pharmacy school. I think that is really cool and something different that we do.
Fantastic. And I'm going to indulge you for one more question as we make sure the Q&A stays caught up and everything before we end, since we have, this extra time. But now we'll go more practical, not that that's not practical information, but more for specific to students right now who are going through the process of trying to select and investigate and find out all the information they can. But simply put, what is your one piece of advice you would give, your one thing that students going through the college search and selection process should remember? And we'll go in the same order. So we'll start with UT Knoxville.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest piece of advice I have, and I'm noticing it more and more this year already, is I'd really recommend students to check their email regularly. Colleges send out a lot of emails and use email as several means of communication. But I think some students can definitely miss out on whether it be the scholarship email that we send out after you have a complete application, or just reminders that we send to students. So I'd say check your email every day and only have one email.
Good advice there. Now, Middle Tennessee State.
Well, I think Tyler speaks for all of us admissions counselors when he says check your emails, because that will definitely help us and you out a whole lot. But just for me, I would say to find the best fit for you, to not be, afraid to apply to that place that you don't know if you think you'll get in, or if you think you'll end up going there, apply to all the places you remotely think you want to go, and, find the best fit for you. And even if it's not the one you thought it was, I challenge you to take the risk of, if it's the best fit for you, to definitely go for it. And then, of course, to not be afraid to take those, leaps and jumps when you get to school, and kind of branch out and get out of your shell just a little bit, because it's a whole new phase of your life that you're going to really enjoy and look back on as some of the favorite times of your life.
It's true. Austin Peay State.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to say this near the same as what AJ said. I mean, just kind of put 100% effort into looking at all of your options. Leave no stone unturned. Put yourself out there. Kind of look at small schools, huge schools, middle of the road schools. Just see what's the best fit for you, where you can most likely get the most scholarship opportunities, things like that, where it's just going to be the best fit. Not every school is the perfect fit for everybody. So always just put yourself out there and see what options become available to you.
Up next, Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, I'd say two things real quick. One of which would be to finish strong. So I know things are weird right now, and there's a lot of stress on you right now. And you're also looking forward into the future and kind of thinking about what comes next, but also, don't forget about what you're currently doing. Finish strong in your class, finish strong with your grades. If you still need to take the ACT or SAT, finish strong there. And then the other thing I would say is, don't be afraid to communicate with us if you have any fear or trepidation about what's going on with your application, or if we've received your materials, things like that. We exist to answer your questions. So like there's not a dumb question, there's not ill-informed questions or anything like that. We exist to help you. So, don't be afraid on the front end to reach out first. And honestly, that will probably help all of us out in the long run, and we can make sure to get you through the end of the process as quickly as possible.
Excellent. And last but not least, South College.
I think I would say to keep an open mind. As we've learned throughout the last year, plans can change, everything can change. And even when we make the most detailed plans, it can go up in the air. So I think I would just tell students right now to keep an open mind. Like they have all said, to check all of your options. Don't leave any stone unturned, and just get as much information as you can before you make your final decision.
Fantastic. Well, great advice there from everyone, and appreciate you sharing that. Also appreciate you sharing all of the information about each of your schools during this session. And I want to thank all of our attendees for joining us this evening. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this is just one of many sessions being hosted this evening. Be sure to sign up for additional ones if you haven't already at the same place you signed up for this one. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings. Again, same website where you signed up for this session. Once again, want to thank everyone for presenting, all of our representatives from the 5 schools presenting during this session. And I want to thank you all for joining us. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Take care.